Okay, so we are on 4:20 to 24. Prthu Maharaj meeting with the four kumaras. So they are giving instructions to Prthu Maharaj. Let's see. Ahinsaya paramahansya charyaya smritya mukunda charitargya sidhuna yamer kamer niyamais chapi anindaya nirihaya dvanda titikshaya cha. A candidate for spiritual advancement must be non-violent. So non-violent means ahimsa. We have that verse, amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, non-violent. Not doing physical injury to others, not doing mental injury to others, and also non-violence means to preach Krishna consciousness, means to relieve the suffering of others. If you are not preaching Krishna consciousness, then you are practicing violence because you have the medicine to relieve somebody of their suffering, and if you are not giving them the medicine, if you are withholding the medicine to relieve somebody's suffering, then you are practicing violence. So that way Prabhupada gives that definition of non-violence. A candidate for spiritual advancement must be non-violent, must follow in the footsteps of the great acharyas, Mahajanayena Gata Sapantha. So, to follow the path given by the great souls, must always remember. So, these are the characteristics. If you want to make spiritual advancement, then must always remember the nectar of the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Krishna has so many pastimes, Damodar Leela, Govardhan Leela, killing so many demons. So, whichever we feel attracted to, Ras Leela, we should remember that. Must follow the regulative principles without material desire. So we have the four regulative principles. And while following the regulative principles, should not blaspheme others. So there are regulative principles of, sadhana bhakti also, like rising early in the morning, doing this, chanting Hare Krishna, serving the devotees. So all these things. And while doing devotional service, one should not blaspheme others. A devotee should lead a very simple life and not be disturbed by the duality of opposing elements. So there is honor and dishonor, fame and infamy, so many other things. There is duality in this material world. So one should not be disturbed so that because nothing is permanent and it comes and goes. And I have nothing to do with this body and nothing to do with this material world. I'm just passing through in this body for a few years. So he should learn to tolerate them so that we can focus on the goal. And that's how. So these are the characteristics of a devotee or a candidate who wants to make spiritual advancement. So we may not be able to do everything. That is where prayer comes in. We have to pray. Like yesterday Mahatma Prabhu was saying, I am here and I want to go there, but on my own I cannot go because the anarthas are very powerful and my conditioning is so steep and deep that I cannot. So then that's where you pray to Krishna. That I cannot. Of course, we have to have determination, but we have to have desire. Intense desire is what actually makes. Like if I want to chant nice japa, then what is most helpful is my intense desire that I want to chant very nicely for the pleasure of Krishna. So that is the most important thing, the desire, the intensity of our desire. So if something is wrong and we want to change it, then we should have intense desire. Yes, I am not doing this right, I am not doing that right. I have this anartha, I want to give it up. And you can pray to Krishna when you are chanting, or otherwise other times also we can pray to Krishna. So by Krishna's help, then we can surmount all the anarthas. So he should learn to tolerate them. So, like, if you have intense desire of going back home, back to God, then we will do whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes to, like Prabhupada, Priya Mataji was giving class. She was saying, yes, whatever it takes to make this, our spiritual life move. If my bus breaks down, then I don't lament. I board another bus, like that. So whatever helps me in getting closer to Krishna. So I will do that because that is my goal. My goal is to reach my destination or to attain Krishna Prem. So whatever helps me, then I will move on. So, okay, so he should learn to tolerate them. And while moving on the path, there may be like so many disturbances and this thing, and one should not take these disturbances very seriously. Like we say, when we have to go to office and we have an important meeting, somebody cuts in front of you. You don't take it very seriously, because if you take it very seriously, then you will miss your destination. You going to the office to attend the meeting on time. So then, if you start a quarrel, so goal is to become Krishna conscious, and other things are happening. They are coming and going. Nothing is permanent in this world. My stay here is not permanent. This body is not permanent. So in that way, thinking like that, I'm just passing through. Let me do what I can in this life to make my progress back home, back to Godhead. So in this way, we should learn to tolerate. So, like Krishna is saying, Yasman no dvijate loko, lokan no dvijate chaya, harsha marsha bhayodvekir, yo madbhakta same priya.
मुक्ता समय मुक्ता समय समय प्रिय.
Yeah. So, yeah. So in that way, we have to tolerate, because nothing is like, all these things are not permanent and this is not going to last. Anytime it can just go away. So we can remain focused on the goal. So we have to learn to tolerate the urges of the mind also, right? The mind is giving so many different desires. So people are telling us so many things, and this. We want to go back home, back to God. We have to just learn to tolerate the mind. Okay, it is coming and it will go after some time. As Krishna says, you should tolerate apuryamanam achalam pratishtam samudra mapa pravashanti yadvat. Tadvat kamayam pravashanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kama kami. So many desires come into our consciousness, and if they are not conducive for Krishna consciousness, we just say, okay, they have come, they will go. One should not be disturbed by the incessant flow of desires, because they come from our past conditioning and things like that. So we should learn to tolerate. Means not do anything, just observe. Yeah, just observe them and let them pass. So like that. So, purport: the devotees are actually saintly persons or sadhus. The first qualification of a sadhu or a devotee is ahimsa or non-violence. Persons interested in the path of devotional service or in going back home, back to Godhead, must first practice ahimsa or non-violence. A sadhu is described as titikshava karunika. A devotee should be tolerant and should be very much compassionate towards others, because we acquire qualities of Krishna. Krishna is very compassionate, and one who becomes Krishna conscious also becomes very compassionate. Krishna, we say, right? Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Deenabandhu Jagatpate, Gopesha Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta Namaste. Oh Krishna, you are an ocean of mercy. Karuna Sindhu. So devotee, the pure devotee. Actually, Prabhupada says the pure devotee is even more merciful than the Lord. So a devotee should be tolerant and should be very compassionate towards others. Compassionate in the sense that to relieve the suffering of others. Everybody needs Krishna. So, so the devotee wants to give Krishna. For example, if he suffers personal injury, he should tolerate it. But if someone else suffers injury, the devotee did not tolerate it. That applies to, blasphemy. That other devotees are blasphemed, then we should not tolerate. If I am blasphemed, we should tolerate. The whole world is full of violence, and a devotee's first business is to stop this violence, including the unnecessary slaughter of animals. Whole world is full of violence. Wars are going on, and a devotee's first business is to stop this violence, including the unnecessary slaughter of animals. A devotee is the friend not only of human society but of all living entities, for he sees all living entities as the sons of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Prabhupada would see this, the division of a pure devotee, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, Brahmane Gavi Hastini, Sunicheva Supagecha, Pandita Samadarshina. He sees the soul, the same spirit soul in every living entity. Even the trees, he wants to chant Hare Krishna to the trees so that they can get benefited, to the birds. Like Prabhupada would not even cut down a tree unnecessarily if it was not necessary, it was not required. And that is how in Vrindavan we have that tree in the middle of the courtyard. Right? That the tree is growing because Prabhupada didn't want it to cut down. So why necessarily put others into inconvenience? The whole world is full of violence, and a devotee's first business is to stop this violence, including the unnecessary slaughter of animals. A devotee is the friend not only of human society but of all living entities, for he sees all living entities as sons of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He does not claim himself to be the only son of God and allow all others to be killed. So he's not selfish. Oh, it's only my happiness and everybody else can go to hell. Or they can be suffered. They can be suffering. But it's all about my happiness. Thinking that they have no soul. Prabhupada is referring to some people who say animals have no soul because they want to eat the animals. This kind of philosophy is never advocated by a pure devotee of the Lord. Suridas Sarva Dehinam, a true devotee is the friend of all living entities. Krishna claims in Bhagavad Gita to be the father of all species of living entities. Consequently, the devotee of Krishna is always a friend to all. Suridas Sarva Dehina, that's Suridam Sarva Bhutam. This is called ahimsa. Such non-violence can be practiced only when we follow in the footsteps of great acharyas. Therefore, according to our Vaishnava philosophy, we have to follow the great acharyas of our four sampradayas or disciplic succession. Trying to advance in spiritual life outside the disciplic succession is simply ludicrous, means laughable. Because you don't have any standard, who are you going to follow? It's like trying to become a doctor but not going to the standard institution, standard college, that medical college. So you want to become a doctor, but you don't want to follow. Then it's like how you can be. It is said therefore, Acharyavan Purusho Veda. One who follows the disciplic succession of acharyas knows things as they are. Chandogya Upanishad. Chandogya Upanishad. Tad Vijnanartham sa gurum eva abhigachet. This is Mundaka Upanishad. In order to understand the transcendent science, one must approach the bona fide spiritual master. The word smritya is very important in spiritual life. Smritya means remembering Krishna always. Life should be molded in such a way that one cannot remain alone without thinking of Krishna. And that happens when you have love for Krishna. We should live in Krishna. So there is sadhana bhakti and there is bhav bhakti. Bhav bhakti means now you have emotion for Krishna. Like yesterday, Mahatma Prabhu was talking about emotion, chanting with feeling and not mechanically. So every aspect of bhakti should be done with sneha. Sneha means affection. Dadami buddhi yogam tam tesham satada yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. Priti means with love and devotion. And if we don't have love and devotion, Krishna, I want some love for you. I want some taste. So some uh, in Japa Reform Notebook, Satsvarup Maharaj says, don't be like a dull stone. Some utter some feeling, some cry of your heart for Krishna. And you say, okay, I cannot cry, then you at least you have a desire to cry for Krishna. So somewhere like he says, don't remain like a dull stone. We should live in Krishna so that while eating, sleeping, walking, and working, we remain only in Krishna. So our Krishna Consciousness Society recommends that we arrange our living so that we can remember Krishna. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya. Do things that will smartavya sattam, and don't do things that will make you forget Krishna. Our Krishna Consciousness Society recommends that we arrange our living so we can remember Krishna. In ISKCON society, the devotees, while engaged in making spiritual sky incense, are also hearing about the glories of Krishna or his devotees. The Shastra recommends Smartavya Satatam Vishnu. Lord Vishnu should be remembered always, constantly. Vismartavyo na jatu chit. So we don't want to get into fights and that anything that disturbs our mind so that we cannot remember Krishna. We don't want to be after any agenda, any personal agenda, because all these things will make us forget Krishna. So if you are after position or name and fame or our own glorification, then we can't glorify Krishna. So we don't want anything that will take our attention from Krishna. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Of course, it's a practice. That's the ideal situation. Vishnu should never be forgotten. And also the material desires are the big thing. They actually take our attention away from Krishna, Krishna's service, Krishna's chanting of the holy name, Krishna's holy names. And so that is the spiritual way of life. Smritya. This remembrance of the Lord can be continued if we hear about Him constantly. It is therefore recommended in this verse, Saiva Jushta. If you do it regularly, if you chant Hare Krishna regularly, every day with respect and attention and care, then slowly that attraction for Krishna will. And we take guidance from the devotees and the spiritual masters. And in this way, like all these Mahatma Prabhu, they are all coming, so many are coming, and we hear from them their realization, how to make, we become inspired, and then, so like that. Such concentration in Krishna consciousness can be achieved by persons who are strictly following the rules and regulatory principles. We have recommended in our Krishna consciousness movement that a devotee chant 16 rounds on beats daily and follow the regulatory principles. That will help. But it is not a mechanical chanting. It has to be done with affection. So that will help the devotee be fixed in his spiritual advancement. And yesterday Mahatma Prabhu was saying Krishna is absent in what? Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said Krishna is absent in what kind of chanting?
Offensive.
In offensive chanting. Krishna is absent in offensive chanting. So we don't want to commit offenses. Of course, it starts as offensive chanting and then slowly. Okay. It is also stated in this verse that one can advance by controlling the senses. Yame. By controlling the senses, one can become a Swami or Goswami. So we have to control the senses so that we can focus on Krishna. One who is therefore enjoying this super title, Swami or Goswami. That's why Prabhupada talks about sense gratification in so many places. And austerities of mind means to not dwell on sense, because then we can't focus on Krishna. So we want to focus on Krishna, we want to focus on Krishna's service. But because we don't have that much taste, so that's why mind is going this way, that way. It's dwelling in all these other things. Like yesterday, one thing he said that since beginning of time, we have been in this material world. And Krishna, who is the most attractive person, he is coming to us and saying, please, I want to connect with you. And you said, let me think about it because I have this thing, I have that thing to do, I have this thing to do here. So the most attractive person is coming to us and says, now, yeah, come. And we are saying, no, no, I have so many things, I have this. Let me think about it whether it's really. So, like with, we know Indra's story of the pig becoming the pig. So, we have to, of course, we have to do what we have to do in this world. We have our duties too. But we have to also think about actually who we are. We are spirit souls, uh, traveling through, so we have traveled through so many bodies in so many situations. Like yesterday during Japa, I was thinking, we have been beaten up by Maya very badly. Every lifetime we have gone through so many sufferings. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi. And now Krishna has again given a golden opportunity. So to again connect with him. So again, if I like, you know, so we can say, Krishna, I want to connect with you, Krishna. Please help me. I have so many anarthas, but you please help me to connect with you. So like that, we can cry to Krishna. That for so many lifetimes, I've suffered so much, and it is a fact, right? We have suffered so much. We have forgotten it, but we have as animals, and we have been eaten up by other bigger animals, and like that, or we have eaten other animals as a big animal, and we have given suffering to others, and like that. In this, so many wars we have been through, so many things. So now Krishna has again given a very wonderful opportunity to connect with him. So Krishna, please help, please help, please help me overcome all my, shortcomings. Without you, I am helpless. So in this way, we can connect also. So one who is there for enjoying this super title, Swami or Goswami, must be very strict in controlling his senses. Indeed, he must be the master of his senses. We cannot be master of senses unless we are Krishna's. Senses are engaged in Krishna's service. This is possible when one does not desire any material sense gratification. If by chance the senses want to work, so how can we be the master of senses when we say, no, I don't want anything but Krishna, Krishna's service. I don't want any kind of sense gratification. If by chance the senses want to work independently, he must control them. From wherever the mind wanders, you bring it back similarly. If you simply practice avoiding material sense gratification, controlling the senses is automatically achieved. Another important point mentioned in this connection is anindaya. We should not criticize others' method of religion. There are different types of religious systems operating under different qualities of material nature. So, like Muslims have some their way of religion, the Christians have their. Those operating in in the modes of ignorance and passion cannot be as perfect as that system in the mode of goodness. In Bhagavad Gita, everything has been divided into three qualitative divisions. So there are people who are in mode of ignorance. Some religious system is being given for them to elevate them. We should not criticize. Not all the religious systems are same, as Bhagavad Gita has much more than everything else. Therefore, religious systems are similarly categorized. When people are mostly under the modes of passion and ignorance, their system of religion will be of the same quality. A devotee, instead of criticizing such systems, will encourage the followers to stick to their principles so that gradually they can come to the platform of religion in goodness. Like Prabhupada would meet Christians and would say, yes, just follow the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not kill. Don't kill animals. Just be a better Christian. Simply by criticizing them, a devotee's mind will be agitated. Thus, a devotee should tolerate and learn to stop agitation. Because that agitation and quarrel and all these things will disturb our mind, and then we cannot focus on Krishna. Another feature of the devotee is nirihaya, simple living. Niriha means gentle, meek or simple. A devotee should not live very gorgeously and imitate a materialistic person. plain living and high thinking are recommended for a devotee. He should accept only so much as he needs to keep the material body fit for the execution of devotional service. He should not eat or sleep more than is required. So we eat to live, not live to eat. So, of course, yeah, simply eating for living and not living for eating. And sleeping only 6 to 7 hours a day are principles to be followed by devotees. As long as the body is there, it is subjected to the influence of climatic changes, disease, and natural disturbances, the threefold miseries of material existence. We cannot avoid them. Sometimes we receive letters from neophyte devotees questioning why they have fallen sick, although pursuing Krishna consciousness. They should learn from this verse that they have to become tolerant. Dvandva titikshaya. This is the world of duality. One should not think that because he has fallen sick, he has fallen from Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness can continue without impediment from any material opposition, because you can always think of Krishna, or and maybe chant Hare Krishna also if you are not too sick. Lord Shri Krishna therefore advises in Bhagavad Gita, Tanstidik Shashva Bharata. My dear Arjun, please try to tolerate all these disturbances. Be fixed in your Krishna conscious activities. Yeah, so also we should not create a situation in life where we will be disturbed and agitated and all these things will happen. So simple life, so that we can focus on the goal of life, because we are going to depart very soon here. And everybody is like going to depart. Even if we cry for somebody that, oh, this person has departed, but how long we are going to live also after that? Maybe a few more decades, and then our turn also will come. So nobody can stay here permanently. So considering that, we should do all activities such that we'll get a nice future, means better life, or go back home, back to Godhead. And the time is now. So, because when things will become bad, then we don't know whether we can do anything. So, right now, we can do good sadhana, we can chant Hare Krishna, we can share Krishna consciousness with others. We are relatively in a healthy situation. So, right now, let me change. And ultimately, all these things are to change the internal. All the chanting and everything is to ultimately bring us to become Krishna conscious. So, okay, so these are the things that the four kumaras headed by Sanat Kumar here. Sanat Kumar is speaking, and how a devotee, a candidate for spiritual advancement, how he should be. So, any comments on this verse? I like the Prabhupada Priya Mataji was saying how we should read Prabhupada's books very carefully, every statement and like that. So I was reading slowly. Okay. So next verse. Harer muhus tatpara karnapura gunabhi dhanena vijrim bhamanaya bhaktya hi asanga sadasatya anatmani syan nirgune brahmani chanjasharatihi. The devotee should gradually increase the culture of devotional service by constant hearing of the transcendental qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we should become attached to hearing about the Lord. These pastimes are like ornamental decorations on the ears of devotees. So there are so many lectures, so many Prabhupada lectures, So hearing, chanting, like that, we should become attached to this. By rendering devotional service and transcending the material qualities, one can easily be fixed in transcendence, in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So our ears are like glorified or decorated when we hear about Krishna. Otherwise, their ears are like what Bhagavatam says. They are like
Nichols.
snake holes. So somehow we have to develop this attachment for the Supreme Lord to hear about Him, and hearing is the best way. So we should hear from, and it's very easy also to hear. You just sit down and just give some, lend your ear and attention. So attention to Krishna is very important. Like when we chant, we want to give attention to Krishna because Krishna has come in the form of holy name. You give attention to somebody you want to develop a relationship with. So when we read Bhagavatam, we want to give attention so that because we want to develop a relationship with Bhagavatam. If we want to establish a relationship with anybody, we have to give attention and time to that relationship. So quality time means time with attention. And that's how our relationship will be established. So this verse is especially mentioned to substantiate the devotional process of hearing the subject matter. A devotee does not like to hear anything other than subjects dealing with spiritual activities or the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of God. When Prabhupada says devotee means he is talking about devotee who is pure devotee. That's how when he says he does not like to hear anything. So we may feel a little discouraged because we may like to hear anything. But this is the ideal thing that Prabhupada is presenting. And so that's why we cannot, Prabhupada says, I'm not a devotee, I'm trying to be a devotee. Because devotee means big thing. A devotee does not like to, so all the qualities of a devotee are described and so many things are described about a devotee. A devotee does not like to hear anything other than subjects dealing with spiritual activities or the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of God. We can increase our propensity for devotional service by hearing Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam from realized souls. The more we hear from realized souls, the more we make advancement in our devotional life. And hearing should be done for purification of heart. So I want to purify my heart. Krishna, I want to come close to you. And the more burning this desire, the more we will want to hear with. Like Prthu Maharaja was absorbing every word Shukdev Goswami was speaking. And if there is some urgency like that, then it helps us in the absorption. The more we hear from realized souls, this may be my last lecture I'm hearing. I don't know. Like we said, this may be my last Japa because tomorrow we don't know. So in that way also, the more we hear from realized souls, the more we make advancement in our devotional life. So we are reading Prabhupada's, he's the most realized soul. The more we advance in devotional life, the more we become detached from the material world. The more we become detached from the material world, as advised by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the more we increase in attachment for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Detachment doesn't mean that we don't care about anybody. We care about the jivas in this material world because everybody is suffering. So it is the compassion to give Krishna consciousness to others. So that is how. Therefore, a devotee who actually wants to make progress in devotional service and go back home, back to Godhead, must lose interest in sense enjoyment and associating with persons who are after money and sense gratification. This is the advice of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. निष्किञ्चनस्य भगवद् भजनोन्मुखस्य पारं परं जिग्मसोर्भवसागरस्य संदर्शनं विषयिणामथयोषितं च आहन्त हन्त विषभक्षणतोऽपि साधु. The word Brahmani is used in this verse, is commented upon by the impersonalists or professional reciters of Bhagavatam, who are mainly advocates of the caste system. So this verse is saying those who want to cross this bhava sagar, this ocean of birth and death, they should not associate with those who are interested in sense gratification, because that is like drinking poison. Hanta hanta vishabhakshanato abhyasadu. So of course everybody is not pure. So we want to associate with pure people and those who want to become pure in their heart. So those who want to become attached to Krishna. So we want to become those who want to do devotional service, and those who are determined on this path to go back home, back to Godhead. Then by associating with them, our desires will also change and will also become more and more. Like when we attend Japa retreat, right? Then our desire to do nice Japa becomes very, like, we feel very inspired to do nice Japa. So it's like that. So we want to be always inspired, and we have to keep hearing. And we should inspire each other, right? So this is the word Brahmani used in this verse is commented upon by the impersonalists or professional reciters of Bhagavatam, who are mainly advocates of the caste system by demoniac birthright. They said Brahmani means the impersonal Brahman, but they cannot conclude this with reference to the context of the words Bhaktya and Gunabhi Dhanena. According to impersonalists, there are no transcendental qualities in the impersonal Brahman. Therefore, we should understand that Brahmani means in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as admitted by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, wherever the word Brahma is used, it must refer to Krishna, not to impersonal Brahman effulgence. Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagwaniti Shabdate. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan can all be taken in as total as Brahman. But when there is reference to the word bhakti or remembrance of the transcendental qualities, this indicates the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not the impersonal Brahman. Okay, so there's more. No, okay, so it's 7:40. So we'll stop here with this Bhagavatam. Anybody has any comments? Anything? Like, yeah, we can hear if anybody like to share from the Japa theme yesterday, Japa workshop.
Das Prabhu was telling about the English translation or his own in his own words about what the mantra means. So we sang a nice song. Oh Radha, oh Krishna, please engage me in your service. Oh my friend, please accept me. Bring my heart closer to your heart. So we can remember, oh Radha and Krishna, please engage me in your service. We should understand that if we are serving, like if Krishna is giving us the opportunity to serve, this is the best thing. You know, best thing that Krishna has given us is his service. This is a gift from Krishna. So we should be grateful to Krishna that he has chosen us to do his service. So keep me engaged in your service. And he says we are protecting ourselves from ourselves. So if we are not engaged in service of Krishna, then we'll be engaged in service of our senses and we'll be ending up in trouble so much, or our mind will give us so many thoughts that mind will become our enemy. So if Krishna keeps giving us services and we are joyfully absorbed in services, is the best thing, and life will pass. And oh my friend, please accept me and bring my heart closer to your heart means that make your desire my desire. Krishna, I want to desire what you have, thought for me. I want to have the same desires as your desires. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, you
Even
want to
also
add
saying
something?
service also means to see everything as for Krishna's enjoyment, right? That mentality of uh, that, yeah, it is not for my enjoyment, it is for Krishna's enjoyment also.
Mhm. Correct. So he says, real chanting produces results. So you cannot get bored by chanting God's names. I mean, God, Krishna is all blissful, Satchidanand. Then, if we are feeling bored while chanting Krishna's name, there's something that we are doing wrong. Like he was saying, maybe like I'm diseased and I'm not taking the medicines properly. This means that the process that I'm following is wrong. So then he's saying that if Krishna comes to your home and you're looking at your watch and you're saying, Krishna, when are you going to leave? I mean, Krishna is all attractive, perfect friend, perfect personality with all the six opulences. I mean, nobody is better than him. And he's most blissful. And that personality is there in your house, standing before you, and you're looking at your watch saying, Krishna, when are you going to leave? So that's how, when we are feeling bored while chanting, is that's what it means. But how is that possible? Means Krishna is not in the chanting, as you were saying. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says Krishna is absent in offensive chanting, and that's why we're feeling bored or feeling sleepy and inattentive. If you associate with blissful, you become blissful. Like all the qualities of devotees that we have been reading in these verses. All these qualities exist in Krishna. And if we associate with Krishna through the holy name, then we will automatically attain these qualities. You don't have to do extra endeavor. So if you disassociate with Radha and Krishna, then it becomes mechanical. Things become mechanical. So he was saying, I mean, most of the class was about appreciating what we have gotten. If we understand the value of the holy name, then we will take it seriously while we are chanting the holy name. So he was saying we should be wow, wowed by the glories of chanting the holy name. And he was talking about Shikshashtakam verses, how the first verse is saying that there's so many benefits of chanting the holy name that are mentioned in the first verse. Holy name is glorious, he says, because the highest is because it awakens our love for Krishna, and you will realize who you are in Krishna Leela, and you will go back home, back to Godhead in this one lifetime. So we should think, wow, and such a valuable thing that from this holy name I will get love for Krishna. But we don't understand the value of this, coming out of the cycle of birth and death and going back home, back to Godhead, just taking this mantra. I guess we have not realized the value, right? So that's why. So we should think I am the most fortunate person in the whole universe because I have the holy name. Holy name is even better than Krishna because we are not qualified to associate with Krishna. They're saying that as with deity worship and other services, you have to be clean, you have to be there's a like second initiator or something. But holy name does not require any qualification. So that's why it's the portable form of Krishna. You can chant even in the bathroom. So he's the most merciful form of Krishna. Is the holy name. And Krishna has all qualities we need in a perfect partner, perfect friend, perfect husband. And he's willing to come and be with you as long as you are chanting his name. So, as long as we are chanting Krishna's name, Krishna is with us. And if he's the perfect person, we want him to be with us all the time. Yeah, and he's saying that, how many people are chanting the holy name in this world? maybe around 3 million devotees may be there, but how many total people? 8 billion people. So 3 million out of 8 billion people, and we are amongst them, 3 million. So Krishna has chosen us, has given us the holy name. So we are so fortunate. And so he says that when there is bad japa, means the appreciation of the holy name is zero. As in any relationship, if there is no appreciation of the other person, then it's at the point of breaking. The relationship is at that point of breaking. But when you appreciate the other person, that's when the relationship gets better. Often we appreciate externally, like he was talking about, seeing Alankar Prabhu, oh, your shirt is very nice, and things externally. But we need to go deep and appreciate in a deeper way. Mantra is not an ordinary sound vibration. If you pollute the mantra, it will lose its effect. There's one quote he's saying, polluting the mantra means, I think, having other desires, right? Material desires, and while chanting, and inattention, laziness. And so, yeah, it will not have the same effect. Of course, there might be effect even in offensive chanting, right? But what we want, the contamination of our heart to be removed and love for God, that effect would not be there. So we can keep on chanting for many lifetimes in that in an incorrect way. We will not get love for God. So he says that we should think that all spiritual advancement that we get in going to parikrama and dham and doing so much service, all of that we can get easily by chanting good japa. Sometimes we think that, right, we have to go here and there and maybe do a lot of fasting or austerity, then I can get love of Godhead. But love of Godhead has made it, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has made it simpler, that in this Kali Yuga, love of Godhead can be easily attained by just chanting, japa very nicely, attentively. So you said that we should think that we cannot afford bad japa. So we have been doing bad japa for day after day. That days become weeks and months, and so many, like some people have been spending so many years in ISKCON. So many years have passed, 40, 50 years. We cannot afford bad japa. It's like losing a big opportunity. It says good. So if we practice doing good japa, then we will always be doing good japa. Like I think he was saying that if, like, Shakespeare is write good plays, he doesn't know how to write bad plays. Or somebody plays good tennis, I don't know, he doesn't know how to play bad. So if somebody is every time doing good japa, then automatically whenever he picks up his beat bag, he will start to do, those emotions will come and he will start to do good japa. If I stay, so he was saying that we should make choices in our life thinking about how that will affect my japa. So if I stay up late, if I eat this, if I go there, or if I associate with that person, how it will affect my japa. Because my japa is the most important activity for me. So we should think of everything, like any choices that we have to make, how that will affect my japa. So he was asking, now some people ask this question, what is better, 4 good rounds or 16 bad rounds? He didn't say that, but I heard a response from a devotee on this. 4 good rounds or 16 bad rounds. So if you're doing 4 good rounds, you cannot stop at 4. Because good rounds means, good chanting means you want to continue your chanting. You want to do more chanting. So the question is itself is wrong. So he says that I don't know what he said in this particular one. So he says that 16 bad rounds means that you have kept your vow. But Prabhupada has also said 16 good rounds as the vow. So 16 bad rounds or 4 good rounds, both way you are breaking the vow. You're not going to get Krishna prem in both ways, right? If you're looking to pass your final exam, don't chant bad japa. You can chant good rounds at any time of the day. So sometimes we think that in the morning only good rounds, it's ingrained in our mind. But at any time of the day we can chant good rounds. So if our rounds are remaining and we think that, oh, in the afternoon rounds are not good, so that's how it will be. Like I don't know what's called, but we think that that's what is going to happen and we behave like that. So but actually you can chant good rounds at any time of the day. Yeah, I think these are the notes I took.
Thank you for sharing. Anybody else like to share, say anything? So today is the next day also. If you want to join, those who couldn't join yesterday. And those who were there, if they like to share anything else, share also.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I wasn't there, but really appreciated Mataji sharing her thoughts because wanted to come, but I couldn't make it because of obligations.
Yeah, no problem. It is not being broadcast because he said then people don't come. So that's why. Okay, so we can read Krishna book. Lord Krishna's daily activities. I think it didn't get saved here. Where did we stop? This bookmark didn't get saved. After bed, he would rise, he would meditate on himself, all these things. Yes.
After six paragraph, I went because I think three paragraph Mataji read and three I read.
3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we can read here.
I also wanted to just share what, as we were doing japa there, what I was thinking about my appreciation of the holy name. I had told you was when we didn't have the holy name, what was our life like? Like at least for myself, I know that I was depressed, I was sad and dejected and hopeless in this world. And when holy name came and the association of devotees I got to Godhead, so we can realize where have we come, like how much we have come so far from where we were when we didn't have the holy name. So, and it is all Krishna's mercy that he gave us this, because so many people, they don't have it, and so what we have to spread it, right? So there are people who are in the same stage as we were when we didn't have the holy name, and so now being compassionate, showing Krishna's compassion, we have to spread it.
Yes, so nice point. Yeah. Where would we be without Krishna consciousness? Krishna Prasad want to ask something. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, Prabhuji. I mean, is bad japa better than no japa? I mean, I consider I always do the bad japa.
So
So,
at least I will say, and then we can have others. So, from my understanding, is that at least do japa first, even if it's bad japa, because you can't immediately start with good japa because we don't have that much attraction for Krishna. But bad japa means you are inattentive, right? You are not like connecting with Krishna. So in that bad, you're doing bad japa, so you can cry to Krishna, Krishna, please help me do good japa. I want to get taste. So while you're doing bad japa, you know you're doing bad japa, right? So then somehow convert that, like who was saying, Mahamantra Prabhu was saying, right? Convert every like in crying for Krishna, every weakness you have, convert it into a prayer. And then tell Krishna that, I have this problem, that's why I can't, so I need your help. Can you please help Krishna? Then it becomes better, right? Then you now start connecting with Krishna. That's what others can also say on this point. Was it Mahamantra Prabhu saying that? Mahamantra?
Yeah, he was referencing crying for Krishna.
Yeah.
Right. And I think in the beginning it is offensive only for most people because we have not practiced it. But it should not continue like that, taking by default that I always do bad japa, so here again I'm going to do bad japa. So we can take an endeavor to hear more about the glories of the holy name, attend japa retreats, do everything favorable. As you said, 22 hours of the day affect our 2 hours of japa, and you should think what would be favorable for me to chant nicely. So we prepare ourselves that, oh, I want to do good japa. I want, like Mahatma Das Prabhu has a quote, right? I want to chant. I love to chant. What is it? I love to chant. I want to chant. No, I get to chant. I get to chant means I am so fortunate that I've gotten this opportunity to chant. I want to chant. This is my internal desire that I want to chant good japa. And I love to chant is the affirmation that that's the state I want to get to. I want to get to the state of loving to chant. So at least we can desire that. And he has nice cards that we can keep in front of us. So if our mind gets distracted, we can look at these cards, these affirmations, and bring our mind back. So as he was saying, we cannot afford bad japa. So not that, okay, I always do bad japa, I'll keep on doing it. But Krishna is also seeing our endeavor. And whenever our mind gets distracted, we endeavor to pull it back. So with that endeavor, Krishna is pleased and he makes us do good japa. So you can apply many techniques. See the DT pictures that we have on the computer, like we share, and see these japa affirmations. Read something about the holy name before you start chanting, and pray that I do good japa. So I think by these endeavors, Krishna is seeing these endeavors.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, like they say, next day if you want to do good japa, then you start meditating on it today, right? So, like the night before, if you have to go to vacation, next day some plane you have to catch or something like that, then you start saying, okay, how am I? You start planning. He says, then I have to sleep early. I have to do this. I have to do that. Like that, we can say what I need to do. So it's a meditation also on how I can do good japa. So, and hearing more, as you were saying, hearing more about what chanting will give me all the happiness and what I'm seeking for. Like it says, it enables us to, what is that? It enables us to taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. So, I'm hankering for Krishna. Actually, everybody is looking for Krishna only. We are all looking for Krishna, and of course, pure devotees is also very good. We want the shelter of Krishna and
Like this japa retreat, if we hear lecture of the holy name like every day, if we are bent upon improving our japa, we will we will hear more about the holy name. At least one lecture every day we hear, then something will stick onto our mind and we'll remember
Like we were
while
reading that
chanting.
Namamrita,
Or
right? Namamrita we were reading before.
correct, yeah.
Nice.
Hmm.
Yeah, it is all. There is a book called Namamrita also. Yeah, and yeah, lectures of holy name. It's nice. I think there is some Radhesham Prabhu gives some japa. What is it called? Japa talk or something.
Yeah, Japa, yeah, meditation before chanting, yeah. He has a lot already on his website. So, Krishna Prasad Prabhu, you can come to our Japa retreat in the evening. Mahatma Das Prabhu.
Uh, yeah, I'll come, Mataji. Yeah, today.
Yeah, okay.
You didn't know about it?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, I know it, Prabhuji. I'll come.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I reached it today. Yeah,
It's only 2 more days, so you can come.
yes. I'll.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who
I
else is
was
in?
hearing one lecture on Radhanath Swami was talking about gratitude and humility. So I was thinking that he was saying that, we have so many impediments and whatever the condition, wherever we are, however we are. But a lot of anartha is in the heart. Like, I also having like many times I had like bad chapa on me. And it continues for many, many days. So, I mean, everybody's situation is also different. With external things also impact your internal sadhana as well. I mean, that's what I felt. So, but he says that when we are very sincere and when we are humble, that and sincerely, we genuinely grateful for the opportunities we get it, and if you connect that how many situations and how many times Krishna we are so many things that we can be grateful for the opportunity and um, to Krishna that he has given us. So he says that, he gives an example of Dhruva Maharaj. He says that when Dhruva Maharaj he was so grateful. He's saying that if you are humble, and even we will be grateful to our enemies, because he was saying that the the Dhruva Maharaj, when he got that, he had when he go to the spiritual world. So he was thinking in mind that could I go back to spiritual world when my mother is still here? Because after all, he was thinking, she was the one who told me to worship Krishna. She helped me to in my spiritual life. And then once she was saying that okay, you have to go to the forest and worship Narayan, and then Guru Narad Muni gave him all the detailed instruction. So so that was he was not like that when he was about to go to the spiritual world, and he was thinking of her with so much gratitude. And so he saw that his mother was already on that plane. So and he was also saying that such gratitude, even he was offering prayers. He was not like that okay, I'm going to the airplane is come and I'm going to the Vaikuntha, and he didn't just jump into the plane and say that okay, I'm out of here. He went to the every sages of the forest and bowed down to them. He offered prayers of gratitude to them. He served them humbly. And so it is said that if you have a kind of even this is the same thing applies in our chanting also. We are so much given by the Lord. We have given this body, we have given this situation, we have given this process, that we know at least this process gave me this liberation from the three miseries of this world. This liberation, this mantra gives me the prema for the Lord. This gave me, we can see the Lord, Radha and Krishna face to face. We can serve them in the spiritual world. And then we compare to our material world and our present life. We don't remember the past life, but if you remember the present life, how many days, how many years we are actually feel that we are happy. um, if something doesn't have any financial issues, then something have emotional or relationships, anything, a lot of problems in this material world. So I mean, I could say that there's no time or no years, like, when you're a student, you have exam problem, studies problem, career problem, relationships problem. There's so many. So but at least through the shastra, through the devotee association, through the this process, we get to know that there is a world where we can the happiness which we are all looking for. But the thing is that you have to be humble. Whatever situation we have, maybe we are not the not even, I don't call myself as a devotee, but we know the position, and be true to your position and try to improve yourself from that point. Humbly accepted that, okay, this is my situation, but I'm sincere, I wanted to advance in this, and I'm so grateful that Krishna has given me this situation. Maybe in many, if I don't do in this lifetime, I don't get any chance to do in the next. So by thinking all these things, we can be so grateful, and we try to fix the mind, and we try to make an advancement in the process. That's what I'm thinking from.
Yeah, humility is very important.
He was saying that humility is the, he was saying gratitude is the womb of humility.
Thank you. Yeah. So we can read Krishna book. Somebody like that.
Okay. Krishna is called the Supreme Brahman because he is the cause of creation, the cause of maintenance, and the cause of dissolution. Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva are different expansions of these material qualities. All these material qualities can act upon the conditioned soul, but there is no such action and reaction upon Krishna because these qualities are all simultaneously one with and different from him. Krishna himself is simply Satchid Ananda Vigraha, the eternal form of bliss and knowledge, and because of his inconceivable greatness, he is called the Supreme Brahman. His meditation on Brahman or Paramatma Bhagwan is on himself only, and not on anything else beyond himself. This meditation cannot be imitated by the ordinary living entity. After his meditation, the Lord would regularly bathe early in the morning with clear and sanctified water. Then he would change into fresh clothing, cover himself with a wrapper, and engage in his daily religious functions. Out of his many religious duties, the first was to offer oblations into the sacrificial fire and silently chant the Gayatri Mantra. Lord Krishna, as the ideal householder, executed all the religious functions of a householder without deviation. When the sunrise became visible, the Lord would offer specific prayers to the sun god. The sun god and other demigods mentioned in the Vedic scriptures are described as different limbs of the body of Lord Krishna, and it is the duty of the householder to offer respects to the demigods and great sages as well as the forefathers. As it is said in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord has no specific duty to perform in this world, and yet he acts just like ordinary man living an ideal life within the material world. In accordance with Vedic ritualistic principles, the Lord would offer respects to the demigods. The regulative principle by which the demigods and forefathers are worshipped is called tarpan, which means pleasing. One's forefathers may have to take a body on another planet, but by performance of this tarpan system, they become very happy wherever they may be. It is the duty of the householder to make his family members happy, and by following this tarpan system, he can make his forefathers happy also. As a perfect exemplary householder, Lord Sri Krishna followed this tarpan system and offered respectful obeisances to the elderly superior members of his family. But we are not prescribed to worship demigods.
Yeah.
or these forefathers separately.
Next paragraph. Finish three paragraphs.
Yeah.
You want to read? Anybody else want to read? Yeah. Okay, I'll read then. His next duty was to give cows in charity to the Brahmanas. So he would get up, meditate on himself, then he would bathe, then he would change into fresh clothing, then he would chant the Gayatri mantra, offer prayers to sun god and other demigods. Like that. Okay, we have to follow how Prabhupada has told us to do. So basically, that's I was thinking. His next duty was to give. So we have like in the temple, if you are living, you have to do Mangala Arati, then this, that, chanting Japa, Tulsi Puja, Narsinghadev, Arati, then Guru Puja, then Bhagavatam, like that. So that's his next duty was to give cows in charity to the Brahmanas. Every day, Lord Krishna used to give many groups of 13,084 cows. Each of the cows was decorated with a silken cover and pearl necklace. Their horns were covered with gold plating, and their hooves were silver plated. So every day he would give 13,084 cows, groups of 30,000 Brahmanas, and they were all decorated nicely. All of them were full of milk due to having their firstborn cows with them, and they were very tame and peaceful. So the cows in which he gave in charity were very nice. They had a lot of milk. When the cows were given in charity to the Brahmanas also were given nice silken garments, and each was given a deer skin and sufficient quantity of sesame seeds. The Lord is generally known as Go Brahmana Hitayacha, which means that his first duty is to see the welfare of the cows and the Brahmanas. Thus, he used to give cows in charity to the Brahmanas with opulent decorations and paraphernalia. Then, wishing for the welfare of all living entities, he would touch auspicious articles such as milk, honey, ghee, gold jewels, and fire. Although the Lord is by nature very beautiful due to the perfect figure of his transcendental body, he would dress himself in yellow garments and put on his necklace of Kaustuba jewels. He would wear flower garlands, smear his body with the pulp of sandalwood, and decorate himself with similar cosmetics and ornaments. It is said that the ornaments themselves became beautiful upon being placed on the transcendental body of the Lord. What is that line we say? Uh, Ornaments becoming beautiful.
Bhushana Bhushanangam.
Bhushana, Bhushana. Okay. It is said that the ornaments themselves became beautiful. Okay. After decorating himself in this way, the Lord would then look at marble statues of the cow and calf and visit temples of God or demigods like Lord Shiva. There were many Brahmanas who would come daily to see the Supreme Lord before taking their breakfast. They were anxious to see him and he welcomed them. His next duty was to please all kinds of men belonging to different castes, both in the city and within the palace compound. He made them happy. So this is in Dwarka, right? This is all what he was doing in Dwarka. In Vrindavan, it is different, like Ashtakalya Leela. So similarly, we may have in Dwarka what he does, right? So in Vrindavan, it's like different then. His next duty was to please all kinds of men belonging to different castes, both in the city and within the palace compound. He made them happy by fulfilling the different desires, and when the Lord saw them happy, he also became very much pleased. The flower garlands, betel nuts, sandalwood, pulp, and other fragrant cosmetics articles offered to the Lord would be distributed by him, first to the Brahmanas and elderly members of the family, then to the queens, then to ministers, and if there were still some balance, he would engage it for his own personal use. By the time the Lord finished all his daily duties and activities, his charioteer, Daruk, would come with his wonderful chariot to stand before the Lord with folded hands, intimating that the chariot was ready and the Lord would come out of the palace to travel. Then the Lord, accompanied by Uddhav and Satyaki, would ride on the chariot just as the sun god rides on his chariot in the morning, appearing with his blazing rays on the surface of the world. When the Lord was about to leave his palaces, all the queens would look at him with feminine gestures. The Lord would respond to their greetings with smiles, attracting their hearts so much that they would feel intense separation from him. So it's now for time for Krishna to go to the palace. So Daruk would bring his chariot, make it ready, and with Uddhav and Satyaki he would go. And while leaving, he would exchange gestures with his wives. So, and they would feel so much separation that Krishna is going. Similar to like when Krishna goes for cowherding in the morning, the gopis and Yashoda Maifi. Then the Lord would go to the assembly house known as Sudharma. It may be remembered that Sudharma assembly house was taken away from the heavenly planets and established in the city of Dwarka. Yeah, like you were saying this, how two things, right? At that time, Sudharma was also taken when? What else was taken? This
Rajendra, Parjatam.
Parijat tree, yeah. Was taken. The specific significance of the assembly house was that anyone who entered it would be freed from the six kinds of material pangs, namely hunger, thirst, lamentation, illusion, old age, and death. These are the waves of material existence. And as long as one remained in that Sudharma assembly house, he would not be affected by these six material waves. So while they were there inside, the Lord would say goodbye in all the 16,000 palaces, and again he would become one and enter the Sudharma assembly house in procession. So 16,108 would merge into one, and he would go inside the Sudharma assembly house in processions with other members of the Yadu dynasty. After entering the assembly house, he used to sit on the exalted royal throne and would be seen to emanate glaring rays.